Welcome to the Multifamily Zone, where business meets family. We explore what the entrepreneur life looks like from the family perspective. Now here are your hosts, Julia and Gino Barbaro.
Everyone, this is Julia Barbaro, host of the Multifamily Zone podcast. I am here with the co-founder of Jake and Gino, my husband, and the co-host, Gino Barbaro. Hey, Gino. How's it going?
Julia, I'm doing good, and this is a fun podcast for me because this was the bane of my existence growing up. Having an Italian mom, having to have everything in complete order, not having any clutter, and it was near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad we're having this show today.
Yeah, no, I think it's important. Well, we're in late August right now here, and school's about to start. For us, we do school at home, but it's starting a new year. So how are we going to declutter our home, declutter our lives? And I know a lot of people think it's overwhelming, the thought of it, to think, okay, I got to do the whole house. I got to do at work. I got to do the office, and it's overwhelming, right? Would you say?
I would. I mean, I'm going to take this from the business perspective, and my wife can take it from the personal perspective, because as I've seen, a lot of things that students have told me and people that we work with, they'll often say, when I make a little bit more money, everything will be better. And that translates to when I can buy more stuff a lot of times. And as I've gotten older, it's not the stuff that makes us more happy. It's having the freedom. It's having the time control. It's having the ability to create our own schedule. It's the ability to have connections. It's the ability for me to jump on a podcast with my wife and have a lot of fun. That's what we're really striving for. We're not striving for more. We're striving for more focus and focus on what we want. So it's really important to start out with that. I had a great call with a gentleman yesterday, and he used the word complexify. Complexify. And I thought that was awesome, because that's what a lot of us are doing. We're complexifying our lives. We're making things really complex. We're adding things that we really don't need. Do we need that extra car? Do we need that extra pet? We always need that extra child, right? But that's complexity. I mean, you really have to stop off and think about that. That's something that if you add somewhere, I think you have to look at your life and say, I need to take away something from somewhere else, or else you're going to have chaos in your life. And when you have chaos leads to fear and leads to that lack of control. I think my wife is going to jump into it, but you can see, as being an entrepreneur, if you have so many things going on in your life, that chaos really sucks your energy and takes out a lot of time where you can be focusing on more productive things.
Yeah. So, the question I guess you're getting at is, what are we saying yes to? What are we saying no to? And you mentioned that dog, right? That animal. A lot of us, we never had pets. We had chickens for a while, which was fun. We got great eggs, but I never wanted pets with our family, because I always thought that was one more thing to take care of. And, it went against our schedule. I wanted to be free to go on vacation when I wanted, not having to worry about something. And I know a lot of my friends, and they're so against that. They love pets. They love their dogs. I'm not against that. That's awesome. But for us, that's what I chose. I also chose, as far as sports, I chose, okay, what can we all do together, or most of us do together, to organize our family life? Do I want to be running around, going to sports games and dragging my little kids along with us and living in the car? I did do that for years, and I found that I don't want that. I don't want that for our family. So I said no to it, and I chose activities that we could do together, or most of the kids could do together. So that was a choice. And it's something to remember, is that we have the ability to choose. It's not, the other people are doing it, so therefore we have to do it. So that's kind of like simplifying your life in a sense.
I'm going to go back to the chicken story. So I have a certain view of it, of how things transpired. We thought it was a great idea.
It was my idea.
Okay.
Okay. It was my idea. I had this great idea. He said no. I said, I'll take care of him. So I did.
For how long?
For 2 years.
I don't even think it was 2 years, folks. We're going to fight about this forever. Let me tell you, they were awesome. I had a garden that was 50 feet by 20 feet. So I'm in the restaurant business. I'm working a lot of hours. And of all the hobbies in the world to pick is to pick a garden. And gardening is a lot of work. So that was another choice, right? And you think the kids are going to help you out, and they do when they feel like it. But when you need to water the garden and you need to plant the weeds, it doesn't wait for you. So have a conscious choice of what your hobbies are. Do you like to go fishing? Fishing is awesome, but you need to have the stuff ready. You need to have your bait ready. You need to have great weather. You need to be able to get to the place wherever you're going. It's a lot of fun. So back to the chicken story. You get the chicken, right? But before you get the chickens, what do you need? Got to go out to Home Depot and buy a barn, right? Well, first we bought a little chicken coop, spent a lot of money on that. We upgraded to the barn, which is fine. Then from there, I had to get the hay. I had to set everything up. Got the little chickens in the mail, little 25 chickens in a box. They come, and to be honest, it was a lot of fun. But then in the fall and the winter, you need to heat the water. You need to have the light on because overnight they need to have light so they can produce the eggs. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's getting very, very complicated. And all of a sudden, it's every day. It smells in the summertime. You've got to change the water constantly. You got to make sure the water doesn't freeze in the winter, because if it does, they're going to die. You've got to clean the barn out every 2 to 3 months. And it soon becomes a chore. And then you lose the chickens. They pass away. Then you got to buy more chickens.
Yeah. And
they become families. And we have names for Chick and Sunshine. And it was a lot of fun. I would not trade it away. But as we had more children and as our lives got more busier, you have to do this trade-off where let's simplify. Let's do that. Now, the children can only do so much work and help out with so much on that chore. They were still younger. I don't expect them to go out and clean the barn and do the water every day. They can help me, but that's too much to ask for the children. So
yeah, but that's thinking about that, I know that we chose to do it and we chose to continue it, but at some point we decided not to get more. And that's the important part here, is that I'm saying, okay, we did it. It was fun. Now we're going to stop. And I think that some of us feel so guilty of saying to the kids, all right, we're not doing it anymore. I know you liked it, but it's becoming a little bit too much for us. We're going to simplify it a little bit. And
they still think about that and go, they want to get chickens down here in Florida. And fortunately, the HOA does not allow that. So I'm thankful for that. Kids. Yes. And they had this like beautiful view of how it was, because I guess they didn't do a lot of the work, but I'm like, it's a lot of work.
Gabriella did a lot of the work. I'll give her that.
But Gabrielle's in college right now, so she doesn't have time to do the work, and I don't expect her to do it.
Yeah.
So when you want to take on a project like that, and as far as for me, for pets, Julie was talking about pets. For me, it's just the idea that I have to board a pet up, and that I want to go away to vacation for a week, that if I leave him overnight and he's there by himself or she's there by themselves, I wouldn't feel good about doing that. The cost is a lot. It's very expensive to have a pet nowadays and all that. So I think that's another simple area where we can simplify.
Yeah. So let's talk about how we're going to declutter, and I'll talk about a little bit in the home with the kids. You can talk business. The thought of decluttering our home. When I think of that, I think of going through every closet, every drawer, all the books, all that, and it's completely overwhelming to me once a year. And so how I handle it, which has been pretty good, is I just focus on one thing, on one drawer, on one cabinet in the house, on one closet. And I put all my focus in there. I put everything out, in the middle of the room or wherever I am. And I literally put one thing away at a time. If it's garbage, I can throw it out. And that's a freedom, is to be able to throw out things that aren't important. Sometimes we hold on to everything because it has a memory. And it's, it collects and collects, and all of a sudden you have all this stuff in your closet that you don't even, has no value, but for some reason you hold on to it. So it's so freeing for me to be able to throw out things that are of no meaning anymore.
I think once our possessions start to take a hold of us, it becomes detrimental. So if you're at that stage and all of a sudden you can't get rid of something because I can't do without it, reassess that, because there's a lot of things in life that you can get rid of. We've moved a couple of times, and it was so liberating to get a 30-yard dumpster and to actually throw out a lot of stuff from our basement. The things that you put away that when I need them, I'm going to get to them. First of all, you're never going to find them. Second of all, they've rusted out. Third of all, you're never really going to use 90% of the stuff you store. So every few years, maybe get a 10-yard dumpster and just do that spring cleaning and clean everything up. And that was a great feeling for me to do that, to get rid of all the stuff that I didn't need. As far as business goes, think of what your daily routine is. I mean, try to simplify everything. How far is your commute? I deal with a lot of students who have commutes that are an hour and an hour and a half long. I mean, can you imagine spending 10 hours a week on the road? That is not simplifying. That's complexifying this problem. Maybe you move closer. Now, since I've been in my office right off the house, I waste no time getting to work. It takes me 30 seconds to get into the office, and I'm at work. I'm productive. I have a great day. My commute is 30 seconds home. I can take breaks. I can spend time with the family. That's simplifying right there. Also, think about what your possessions are. If you're doing multiple businesses, maybe you're doing real estate, you're doing taxes, you're doing all these different genres. Maybe you start focusing down and focusing on one or two. I was doing multifamily real estate right now. I was thinking of getting into vacation rentals and maybe doing a fix and flip. And I said to myself, no, I don't want to do that. I want to simplify it and keep it simple and not go into different areas of the businesses. Remove the clutter. Just remove the clutter from your businesses, from your life, and start simplifying things.
It's important, we think of physical things we need to declutter, but there's also the mind. What's in your mind that's taking up room that shouldn't be there? Is it the person that you need to talk to, that you need to have that conversation with, that you've been, purposely putting off because it's too hard to deal with? It's important to have a clear mind, especially when you have a family at home. Is it a parent or a grandparent or a sister, brother, extended family, somebody that you really just need to reconnect with and clear the air with, because that can really hold us back in life as well.
So think about that. You have to be conscious about it. First of all, if you're not even conscious about how complex your life has been or how your business life has been, maybe you have to take a step back and do a debrief of what's going on and saying, where can I become more simple? Where can I get things? Do I need to have 4 cars? Do I need to have multiple houses? Do I need to have multiple bank accounts? Maybe I can get one holding company, as this gentleman was speaking to me yesterday, instead of having multiple holding companies. Maybe those are the things you need to do and focus on your business perspective.
Just thinking about being overwhelmed, it reminds me of, early on in this little business that I have here, coaching, my husband got someone to do my website. And so, I had to get content. And I thought, well, what is that? I don't even know what that is. And it was so overwhelming, the thought of getting information for a whole website. And I was super overwhelmed. And I was actually paralyzed with it because I couldn't even make a list of what I needed because I was so overwhelmed by it. And I thought, well, my advice to someone else, obviously, would be just do one piece of it. And so as I did one little step, whether it was about me, it was a video on one thing, all that content, I made it one at a time. I put all my effort into that one piece. I emailed it to the guy that was doing the website. And then I saw the progress. And as I saw progress, I became less anxious. I became less overwhelmed because I just did one piece at a time. And I didn't look at the whole picture because I get so confused sometimes.
Julia, I just want to mention to the listeners about our Multifamily Mastery Live event, October 19th to the 20th at the Gaylord Palms in Orlando, Florida. We're going to be anticipating about 600 multifamily investors to be in attendance, along with our entire Jake and Gino team. Julia and I are going to be hosting a spouses workshop at the event on Sunday. Seating is going to be limited to the first 30 attendees. Now, Julia, what are we going to be talking about at this workshop?
So Gino, we're going to be talking about communication techniques between spouses. We're going to be talking about mindset. Giving up the need to be right. We're going to be talking about working together. We're going to be talking about taking responsibility. It's going to be very interesting. And I love to work with couples because it's interesting that a lot of couples are, they do say we can never work together, but you are already working together in life. You're running a house, you're running a family, maybe even, outside your sports activities together. And so sometimes I just like to point out that you are already working together. So
where can they get more information? Click on the link down below and sign up for the workshop. Like I said, seating is limited, and we'd love to see you there at the event. Our whole family is going to be there. Jake's family is going to be there. So it's going to be a real big event. So just to get back to what we were talking about, these are some of the steps I think that you can start taking to simplify your life and maybe become more conscious. And I am a stickler, right? When I first started thinking about this, I'm like, wow, this is going to cost me more money, right? The first thing is dry cleaning. To have my wife sit there and iron clothes and to waste time doing that, that's something where we can simplify. You can outsource that for not that much money. The second thing is get somebody to clean the house every now and again. I was really cheap on this, and it was hard because in the beginning when you weren't making money years ago, it was like, well, it's going to take us 8 hours to do the thing. 8 hours is a long time to clean the house. So to get somebody to help you with that, that's simplifying your life. You can be doing other things while you're doing that. The next thing is get an organizer to come in and help you with the house, because there are people who do it professionally who can come in. We had California closets come in when we were remodeling this house. They gave us great ideas on the pantry, how to get efficient as far as designing the laundry room. We had a small laundry room. They did a fantastic job.
Sorry. Go ahead.
The pantry underneath the steps, they did an awesome job. They really straightened it out and gave us a lot of room.
That's actually reminds me of something. It's that a lot of us do know, especially if we're not very organized, we all know someone who is very organized. Reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? I've always appreciated and noticed how organized your house was. Could you come over and give me a hand, give me some tips on, how I could better my home?
The next one is cutting grass. I mean, if that's a hobby and you love to do it, that's one thing. But if you think about the time you spend and the machine and the gas and praying it doesn't rain, outsource that. Simplify your life by outsourcing that. Also, one other thing, my cars. I get my cars detailed every 6 months. Now, my kids can have fun and do it, but I will not wash my cars because I want to have a simple life. And to do that. So think about outsourcing a lot of these little tasks that really can be done for minimum $10 to $15 an hour, where you can be better spending your time doing other things. And if not, spending time with the family.
Yeah. So when we think of declutter, some of us, if we do get overwhelmed, the question we have to ask is, what is just one good step we could take to get decluttered, to get out of that clutter, and take that step. And then from there, you could see a little progress, and then it's not as overwhelming.
So what are your action steps?
I just said them.
And what else? That's just one little step. We got to give more than one step.
And then just keep taking them. You do, and what I'm talking about is the home, and even is to go one closet at a time, go one cabinet at a time, go to the car, go to your office desk. The worst thing really is to be working in the middle of clutter. Because, my kids know that when the house is organized, I'm a much nicer person and I'm actually, more approachable. So they know that. And I know that. So at that point, I actually am I keep up on it because I know I can work better.
Everyone, she's a much nicer person. So I'm going to go home right now. I'm going to clean up our bedroom right now. If the bed's not made right now. So that's true. So I think for business, I think you can just start out in your business world by seeing how your systems are, having people to help you out. A VA is a great way to start decluttering. Start doing tasks that you don't like or that are really low level by getting others to do it. I mean, do you have to run to the bank twice a week? Maybe you can get a check scanning. Maybe you can get an app on your phone to do it. Try to simplify as many processes. Maybe you can get a job closer to work, like we were talking about, but start setting up systems in your business that'll help you to actually simplify your life.
Sounds good, Gino.
We're going to go make our bed right now. So listen, we had a lot of fun talking about decluttering because it's really having the conscious awareness that around you there's chaos and there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of mess. With 6 kids, we have a pretty quiet house, and it's because we don't have a lot of that chaos running around. We've been able to say to ourselves, I'll give you a perfect example before we sign off. When everyone's going Christmas shopping at 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're the ones that go shopping at 8 o'clock in the morning before everyone gets to the mall, and we leave before everyone gets there. So we try to avoid as much chaos as possible. We try not to go away at the busiest times of the year to enjoy and to slow down. We love going out to eat during the week at restaurants because we don't want to wait 45 minutes on Friday and Saturday nights because that's more stress. There's more chaos there. We don't need all that, what you want to say, excitement or all that chaos. We don't want that. So start structuring your life. Start seeing where you can start cutting down and ultimately just start working towards what you love. And the money that you make, don't think of it as just money. Think of it how you can use that money to actually simplify your life and to get back the time.
Sounds good.
We want to thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments. And if there's nothing else, Julia,
we'll
see you guys all next week. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.